Over the last few years, 500 Startups has been really strong at helping international companies and helping companies find distribution. We're here today to talk about their program.
500 Startups is a global seed fund and accelerator program. We're based in Silicon Valley. We've invested in over 600 companies. We have over 200 mentors in the 500 family. We really care about international and distribution and having fun.
The 500 Startups Accelerator runs 4 times a year, with 2 classes in San Francisco and 2 classes at its headquarters in Mountain View. Some graduates of the program include Visually, CompStack, Intercom, and Intern Match.
There obviously are a lot of accelerators out there now, and there are a lot of great ones. In terms of why most companies come to us, we really help our companies understand marketing and distribution and growth.
So we decided to join an accelerator. Specifically, an accelerator like 500 was because there's basically things that we didn't know how to do in terms of growing that user base, in terms of doing online marketing user acquisition.
We stumbled upon the idea that, hey, an incubator accelerator might be a really good fit to teach us a little bit more about marketing and business, stuff that we as engineers didn't know.
Entrepreneurs want to spend all their time working on their product. It's like this warm, comfy blanket because you can control it. You can put new features in it and you think that you're one feature away from taking over the world.
I think one of the biggest learnings specifically from 500 and Dave was the focus on metrics and making sure we're measuring our progress.
What you start looking at is how do you actually build a business by figuring out your metrics and learning how to acquire users, and it's awesome. It's a very different way of looking at stuff.
500 is all about diversity, and you can see that in its founders. Around 25 to 30% of all the startups in the program have female founders, while another 30% or so are from outside the US.
We bet big on international because we think there's a lot of talent here in Silicon Valley, obviously, but there's also talent all around the world, and a lot of people aren't really paying attention to that.
One of the things that's nice about 500 is they're not just looking at Valley companies, they look at companies across the US and across the world.
Dave will invest in a company in India and in Africa and in Brazil and in Colombia.
A lot of the companies that come here, and we do have a lot of international companies part of the batch, they want access to the community. They want access to distribution resources. They might be based in a country, but they have a global audience. They want to be in Silicon Valley, or they want that Silicon Valley connection.
So one of the things that was really unique about 500 Startups was the international presence that it has, specifically the presence around Asia, Japan, China. Our first product was really targeted at that community, so we saw 500 as a great way to build our brand and help us reach partners and customers.
I do pitch training with the Brazilians, with Spaniards, with Israelis. I'm a mentor in several accelerators. You meet really smart entrepreneurs who are passionate about what they do. For me, it's just being part of that, being part of the whole group, the whole family in a sense, and learning. I mean, you're constantly learning things. You're constantly knowing what's happening in the world of the startups.
Applications have been run through AngelList for the last several years, but referrals are still the best way for founders to get noticed during the application period.
So I had essentially followed Dave McClure through 5 different countries before we finally got his attention. And initially just looking for seed funding, he gave us an offer to the accelerator, but it was really about meeting him, showing him the product and the value.
500 is the only program that we applied to, and it actually kind of harkens back to their old model, which was a mentor / advisor is somebody who would get you in. We had already launched a product, we already started to have some paying customers, and we started to see that there was a broad appeal. Our advisor was an early person in PayPal, and as we talked through some of the issues we had, he said, I know you're in Nashville, I know this is probably not on your radar, but you could look at 500 and I think it would do a lot for you.
So typically what we would look for when we're looking at companies for the accelerator, one is definitely the team. There are certain types of companies that we're more interested in others. I think it's pretty consistent when you look at all of the companies in 500. We like companies that have a very clear revenue model. They don't necessarily have to have everything figured out when it comes to distribution and customer acquisition, but we like to see that they're testing out all the different channels and they put a lot of emphasis on it.
For 500 Startups, community is key. In addition to $75,000 in funding for 7% of equity, the accelerator also offers office space for startups to work from.
We have over 600 companies, that's thousands of founders, over 200 mentors, and then obviously our team. You'll find that even though it's such a big family, everyone's actually very tight-knit. They all feel this sense of belonging to the 500 family. It's just so much fun to work with these companies because they're coming in and they're spending 3 or 4 months with us in our office, and as a result we spend a lot of time with them. You have to realize these founders are human, so sometimes they come with personal questions. So sometimes we aren't just people who are running the accelerator program that they're part of. I find myself often acting like a therapist or or a coach or something.
500 Startups also provides portfolio companies with exclusive events like lunchtime talks from founders, trips to other successful companies like Google or Facebook, and fireside chats with investors. They've built a dedicated alumni network that gets stronger with every class. If you're a company that's looking for an accelerator, you already have a product, maybe you're looking for a little bit more distribution and looking to have a little fun along the way, 500 Startups is probably a good choice for you.